Alright everyone, Shaetan here with game number 2 of Winners Bracket round number 3 between the Red Terran Slayers Ganzi and the Blue Zerg Violet, formerly of MVP. So Violet lost game 1, he is down 1-0 in the series, and this is his map choice, dual site. So we'll see if, he just sort of feels comfortable on this map, or if he has some sort of a special strategy. The one thing to note about this map is very, very, very wide natural, like bigger than Metalopolis, which I think has one of the wider ones in the map pool, or the ladder map pool. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see Ganzi do another Reactor Hellion expand, or maybe even something like what we saw Boxer do against Idra at Orlando, probably? I think it was Orlando, where he made, he went double reactor factory Hellions, pumping out 4 at a time and attacked with 16, because that can be so hard to hold off unless you have roaches. The thing is, though, is Violet showed that he was very willing to get roaches, so maybe, Ganzi's going to be a little bit wary of that. And is he going to take this? No. Ganzi looks like he's just going to be scouting for proxies. He doesn't want to lose to, some type of quick 2 racks proxy pressure. That would be a shitty way to go down to the losers bracket this early into the game. He's even going to pass by the Xel'Naga Watchtower, see what's going on, and then he has this Overlord over here, giving him vision of the other sort of half of the map. But it looks like we're going to see a hatch first from Violet. We'll see if he goes, gets super greedy, makes another drone, makes an extractor, then makes the spawning pool, or what really he has in store for him. But it looks like Ganzi is going to go for the command center first, which is Violet going to be aware of that? It doesn't look like he's going to go down there. The one thing that should clue him off, though, is this isn't an orbital yet. And I think right around now, or soon, it would be an orbital. I'm not too sure about the in-game time. So I think he should suspect that this is the command center first. So we'll see if he decides to, is he going to take a quick third, play it almost like a ZvT? Is he going to go for some type of early roach pressure that can be effective if all your opponent has are Marines? Is he going to go for a quick Baneling bust? I mean, look at this wall. It's just begging to be busted. So we're going to have to wait and see. We do see Ganzi is getting 1 racks fairly quickly. It's almost like a delayed 12-13. So 12 racks, 13 gas. It's almost a delayed version of that. So maybe he just wants to do a delayed Reactor Hellion build. That's going to be very possible. But then if Violet does decide to go for a roach bust, that could be, it would almost be a build order win just because of how late everything is going to be from Ganzi. So we'll see what he decides to do. He is building, that first Marine. This poor little drone was not quite able to get in there, so it really has no idea directly of what's going on, but I think he can sort of take a guess by, wait, there's a barracks there that wasn't there before, you must have just built it. That must mean you're, why was it so late? You must have built the command center first. But we do see him, Violet mining the gas, probably going to be getting metabolic boost fairly soon, and we still don't really have an idea of what he is going to do directly. He is, there's 2 queens. He's getting a third out. So he's probably not going to go for anything in terms of early aggression, because that third queen doesn't really give you anything there. It's not going to waddle its way over and do anything. But Ganzi is moving out this command center, and the Lings do spot it. They're going to get taken out by the... Nope, not taken out, but they're going to be driven off by the Marines. Ganzi's going to start building a couple of bunkers here. Keep them safe from any sort of Zergling pressure. And like I mentioned, we do have a factory that had gone down previously. He's only making them 1 at a time. I guess the delay time for getting that reactor might have been too significant. He's just going to keep pumping out units just in case his opponent does decide to sort of, flip the switch and go for heavy aggression. But instead we see that there's a quick third base from Violet. And it's actually a very, very good move, because right now Ganzi can't know that that's coming, because it's too early in the game for him to have, well, now he has a Hellion. And now he's going to be able to, sort of see that there is a third base out. But pretty soon Metabolic Boost is going to finish, and that'll sort of keep Hellions from doing anything all that effective. Where is the Hellion? The Hellion just sort of going around cleaning out the watchtowers. We'll just follow this little guy, see what he does. Dancing around the towers, taking out Zerglings. And he's going to be able to scout that third base. Does he know about it yet? No, he does not. But that Hellion is heading over there right now. It's going to be aware of it. And at the same time, it looks like Violet is going, he's starting to make some lings. I saw him make about 8 or 9. I guess that's just to deal with the Hellion. He's getting the Baneley Nest and the Roach Warren. So I've started seeing more and more of this Roach-centered style, and I guess it can be effective against Hellions, but your opponent has one Hellion. He switched right away into Tech Labs, and I guess as long as you don't make the Roaches, it's not that big of a deal, but if you start making Roaches and you delay your lair tech by that much, you're just setting yourself up to be punished by your opponent. And really, like, Violet is building up so many minerals and gas, he needs to be, spending that somewhere. Why aren't you getting a lair? You're not upgrading anything. You don't have Evo chambers. Like, what are you doing with all of your money? So just a bit of sloppiness on Violet's part. Again, like, it's still there. He is building the Roaches right now, so we see 7 Roaches on the way. I guess there's going to be a 1-tank push with Siege Tank and about 11 Marines and a Hellion, but I think Violet's going to be more than prepared to deal with this, but, I mean, he could have done all of that and still upgraded his lair. We also see him getting supply blocked briefly, repeatedly, but there are some Banelings going up. I guess that was what the gas was for, but you don't need Banelings to deal with, 11 Marines? Like, you can just rush in there with probably your Roach, just like Roachling would be more than enough, especially if you set up like a really, really nice flank. But Ganzi is going to be able to sort of set up siege on this position. Violet does go in to sort of take out the tank. He knows that he needs to take out the tank, and then the Marines will be able to go down fairly easily. One Baneling is able to get a pretty nice hit off, but this poor Queen, wow, Ganzi just not really microing there. That Queen was blocking the Baneling from doing anything. But the Marines just didn't move at all. And so now this third base is going to go up. This is almost the cue for Violet to get that lair. He's still down on Harvesters. He's making them, 9 at a time, so he's going to jump ahead. But Ganzi is also, he's ballsy, man. He's taking this third base. It's not, no one's like, oh, you lost your entire army, let's go take a third base. But Violet doesn't know that it's there, and we'll see if he even checks, because if he doesn't check and this third base is allowed to stay up for a while, that could be, a pretty important thing. Now, he is going to be able to stop mining from most of this and sort of withdraw to this bunker, but with proper repair, it should be able to stay up. We'll see if he's able to keep it up. No, it looks like he wasn't able to get enough SCVs on there. The bunker's going to go down, and is this going to be GG for Ganzi? I think Ganzi might have just gotten a little bit too greedy with that third base over here, and really after holding off Ganzi's attack, Violet was able to retain enough units to where he was able to just come in here. He's able to stop mining at the natural. He was killed. How many? He killed 19 workers, and even though he's not going to be able to bust into the main, he's going to be able to deny mining at this natural for quite some time. And I think if he was able to, if he had seen this base, which he still does not know is there, if he was able to see that base, wow, I completely missed a siege on the third, I guess, but Roaches are able to clean it up, not before the third was taken out. My apologies on that, but really, we're just in a bit of an awkward situation here, because Ganzi can't really move out of his base, too quickly, like, he can't move across the map, and he's just so far behind in terms of economy. He's down about 14, 15 SCVs right now. He's just started mining again at his natural. He was super saturated over here, and he does have this third base up, but now Violet is taking his third base, and he should be taking a fourth base fairly soon if he wants to stay in this game. Or not stay in this game, if he wants to, keep his lead. We do see a bit of a movement out by these Marines, but it doesn't look like they're doing anything other than clearing out the Overlord. Where is your lair tech, Violet? Violet, I've noticed, and I would think that you have too, likes to stay very, very low tech in this matchup, which is fairly odd because, Ling Bling can do so much for you, and Ling Bling Roach maybe a little bit more, but eventually those mutas or infestors are almost a requirement just to, being able to do harassment is nice, being able to prevent really, really sick Marine micro is nice. All of those things are, you want them. Why wouldn't you take them, especially when you are in this commanding lead with, floating a surplus? Why not throw down that Spire? Why not throw that infestation pit? One thing though that's really nice, look at this creep spread. It's not quite seal levels, but it's pretty damn good. So we see he has 3 independent creep tumor paths going out there. The Spire finally does go down a little bit late. I think Violet, let's see here. Oh, he's playing fairly quickly, I would say. I don't like this new APM thing, but I mean, he just, I find it odd that he was floating so high before he dropped the Spire. He is getting single upgrades. Are they double upgrades? No, single upgrades, and he's finally saturating his third base. You know, getting some Banelings just to get ready against any sort of incoming aggression from his opponent. But the thing is he's just now going to find out about this base. And I think that's going to be, you know, a bit rattling for Violet, because he's, you know, I think he imagined he thought that his opponent was on 2 bases, that his opponent would not dare be so bold as to take that third base, and now he finds out, wait, my opponent's been on third base, probably 3 bases for a while. He's going to go in for the counterattack, but Ganzi's moving over here with his army. As long as he's siege up, he should be able to deal with this, and we see that repair, and the repair, wow, Ganzi almost made a critical misstep there by briefly clicking away his SCVs. That almost allowed the planetary fortress to die, but it looks like it is going to stay alive. And now Ganzi has evened up the supplies significantly at 114 to 140, and we see that because that push failed, Violet is forced to spend his gas on roaches, on banelings, and he has no mutas. He was floating something like 1,500, 1,600 mutas, or wow, that would be a lot of mutas. 1,500, 1,600 gas and minerals. He could have gotten 16 mutas, but instead he has to, you know, spend money on these low-tech units. Now he is doing a bit of an attack from 2 angles almost, and he's going to be able to clean it up fairly easily. And Ganzi just not able to really get a good foothold into the map. I mean, he was, you know, he was able to defend his third. That was good. That third is really the only reason that he's still in the game. But he just keeps moving out with sort of mini pushes and doesn't do all that much. And now we see that there's 2 medevacs going out, but they are flying over creep, and then they're going to fly by this hatchery, which might get taken out, and then split into this third base, where basically Violet has all the information he needs to solve this, to stop these attacks. And it looks like this drop is going to get cleaned up very easily. This drop is actually going to the natural instead of the third, but 1 Mutalisk is going to do a little bit of damage. We'll see where Ganzi finally decides to drop it. It does look like it is at the natural, but the army from Violet is here to clean it up. He was able to take out a Mutalisk, which is nice, but Ganzi is just using these drops to sort of give him, to force to force Violet to pull back his army so that he can move out and take additional bases. And now we see that Ganzi's moving out here trying to attack the gold base, but really what he should be focusing on, at least a little bit, is just taking out some of those damn creep tumors. I mean, there's creep everywhere, and really right here, this just might be GG for Ganzi. He keeps trying to push out instead of just you know, sort of being content with what he has, maybe building up a bit of a larger force rather than, you know, the 130 supply you have. Get up to 160, 170, and then maybe you can move out. But with these just sort of piecemeal armies, he's just sort of playing into Violet's hand, where his low-tech army, I mean, the man has only like 8 Mutalisks, right? His army doesn't have all that much raw DPS power, so if you just, you know, turtle up, if you get 8, not even 8, if you get like 7 siege tanks, and then you move out, you'll be able to do a lot more damage, because your army just isn't going to be as fragile as what Ganzi has been moving out in. And now what we see, though, is, you know, Ganzi is on 3 bases. He's super saturated at his third because his main and his natural are basically mined out. There are mules. And now he's being forced to take, or he's been trying to sort of almost sneak this gold base out of desperation, because he just doesn't have really any other options if he wants to stay in this game. And we see now that Violet is almost next. Ganzi is staying almost steady at about 130 supply, and Violet is just in a very, very commanding lead. Don't go attack the third base, though. Maybe try and deny this fourth. That would be a good idea. Go attack the natural. Maybe do some multi-pronged harassment. But instead, it looks like he is going to go for the fourth base. It's going to hit before it turns into a planetary fortress. We'll see if he can get it. He is probably going to be able to take it out before it turns into a planetary. Forces the cancel on there, and we'll see if the mutas can actually take it out. It looks like they're going to. Ganzi has almost resigned himself to his fate. He has only these 3 siege tanks to his name. He is going to have +1/+1, and there was a bit of a drop here that was able to kill a couple of workers. Let's say about 15 or so. That sounds about right based on what the count is. But these queens were able to take out the medevac fairly quickly, and there was also a drop over here at the gold base, which was able to kill, it doesn't look like any drones, but it was able to do a lot of damage to the hatchery, which is now basically about 20% life. The mutas do clean up the drop, though, and now really what does Ganzi have going for him? He does have 3-3. He is moving out with his army, but he only has, what, 3 or 4 siege tanks, and they get the siege up a little bit late. The banelings roll in. They're able to take out a lot of the marines. He's down to only 30 marines right now. There's still so many roaches and mutas left, and the mutalisks are really, they're taking a bit of damage. They should pull back a little bit right now, and he's going to do so. But here's the thing. Ganzi's dropped back down to about 115 supply. He is still only on 3 bases, only about 1 of them mining. Although mules are pretty damn good. Where are those mules, man? Huh. I guess? Anyway, so he's basically on 2 mining bases versus his opponent who has 4, one of which is a gold. And so, you know, Violet can afford to throw away his armies wastefully. He can afford to use roaches, which, you know, they're very cost inefficient. He can afford to throw away mutalisks, etc. because he can just reload so much quicker. His opponent is down at 103. Now Violet is back up to 160. He can fill that up with Zerglings if he wanted to. The one thing though is, you know, why take the chance of throwing away units like that? You know, take another expansion. You have the money for it. Get up the infestation pit. Start teching to hive. All of these are things that Violet can do to really put himself in a more sure position, because, you know, attacking into a biomech army through a small choke like this is not really what you want to do. I mean, you know, you can kill them, you can take out a significant portion of their army, but it's never going to be all that effective. Now there's also a drop here at the 4th, and the drop is going to take out the 4th base. The entire army gets pulled back to take it out. We'll see. It looks like Ganzi is going to lose this drop, but I think, you know, he can. That should be an acceptable loss for him, because he took out one of the mining bases of his opponent, which is something that he desperately needs to do, because right now he was behind on mining bases. Now we see another drop going basically as far away from this gold base as you can. It's going to take out overlords, maybe even get this spire. We'll see what Violet decides to do. Violet is actually just going to go back home, and Ganzi is really able to sort of dictate the flow of this game with his drops. He's just not. He's keeping his opponent, like, not attacking him, and there he took out the spire. We do see the engagement happens, and again, Ganzi with the delayed siege. I don't know if you saw it or not, but out of the corner of my eye, I could see, like, the siege happened. He was sort of waffling around, moving his units back and forth, and not sieging up, even though he knew that Violet had his army out there, and I think that just might be too much. Violet up to 143 supply, Ganzi only at 100, and now the depots are down, so Violet, all he has are roaches and a couple of mutalisks left, but the roaches are going to be in the base right now. They're going to be, you know, hitting the tanks as soon as they pop up, and so without the siege tanks or Thors that you really want to deal with Muta Roach, you're not going to be able to deal with them, especially if they're inside your production facility. So expect to see GG from Slayer's Ganzi any second now. He's at about half the supply of his opponent, and that'll even up the series, and there's the GG. So we have a 1-1 tied series going into game number 3 between these two players.